One Subaru engine has covered over 600,000 miles. Same block, zero rebuilds ever. That's not a typo, and it's not the only one. Turbocharged or naturally aspirated. On a Subaru, that one detail can be the difference between hitting 300,000 miles and blowing a head gasket. We checked 7 candidates against real maintenance records, failure data, and documented ownership history. 5 survived scrutiny, ranked lowest documented mileage to highest. First up, the one still finding out which side of that question it lands on. Number 5. 2019 present Subaru Ascent Legacy XT WRX FA24 2.4-liter Turbo NA. The engine's still writing its own record. The FA24 hasn't crossed 300,000 miles yet. Subaru only put this engine into production in 2019, but stick around because everything about how it's built says that's only a matter of time. The highest documented mileage right now belongs to a Subaru Ascent sitting at 273,252 miles. That's an impressive number. It is also technically not 300,000, and even the earliest examples on the road haven't had the years, let alone the miles, to get there. You can't document a 300,000 mile engine that's only been driven for 6 or 7 years, so why open a 300,000 mile engines video with one that hasn't hit 300,000 miles? Because everything Subaru's engineers built into this block suggests it's going to get there. The FA24 was designed from the ground up to survive the cylinder pressures of direct injected turbocharging. Thick cylinder walls, heavy structural webbing around the bores, a bottom end overbuilt for boost. That's a different design philosophy from an engine that just happens to survive. This one was engineered to take a beating and shrug it off. So far it has. Comb through early life diagnostic data on the Ascent and you won't find a single systemic mechanical failure tied to the engine block itself. The issues that did surface in early Ascents, software glitches, sensor faults, were peripheral. Nothing about the core rotating assembly, the direct injection system, or the timing chain shows a pattern of failure. It also helps that the FA24 isn't a single application engine hiding from scrutiny. The same core architecture runs in 3 very different vehicles, the 3-row Ascent hauling families and trailers, the Legacy XT as a sedan daily driver, and the WRX in its most aggressively tuned state. An engine that holds up across that range of duty cycles, from grocery runs to track days, is being stress tested in more ways than a single application engine ever would be. Speaking of the timing chain, it's maintenance-free by design. Inspect only, no scheduled replacement. Subaru specifies 0W20 full synthetic on the standard factory interval. Nothing exotic, nothing demanding special attention. Put it together, and the FA24 looks less like a gamble and more like an engine that's simply too young to have proven what it can do yet. Give it another 5 years on the road and 273,252 miles will look like a warm-up lap. For now, it earns its spot honestly. Closest to the number, still climbing. If you're shopping one used today, there's not much of a checklist yet. Full service records and confirmation the turbo variant hasn't seen aftermarket tuning that pushes boost past factory limits. And the next engine on this list didn't just survive 300,000 miles. It did it by ditching a part every other Subaru on this list depends on. Number 4. 2000's 2010 Subaru Outback Tribeca Legacy EZ30D, EZ36D, 3.0-liter, 3.6-liter Flat 6 H6. The Flat 6 too smooth to wear out. A 2016 Outback 3.6R crossed 300,000 kilometers, roughly 186,000 miles, through washboard roads and severe weather without a single internal mechanical failure. Separately, commercial fleet operators have logged EZ30 engines as heavy-duty haulers at 275,000 miles, with zero block-related degradation. Piston heads, reviewing the platform, put it plainly, with proper servicing, these engines effortlessly surpass the 300,000-mile threshold. That verdict carries extra weight because it isn't coming from a Subaru fan site. Piston Heads is a UK outlet with no reason to flatter an engine most of their readers will never own. When an independent cross-market source backs up a reliability claim this specific, it's worth paying attention to. Here's why that claim holds up. Where Subaru's 4-cylinder boxer engines rely on a timing belt, a wear item with a hard replacement date, the EZ platform abandoned rubber entirely. It runs a heavy-duty, internally lubricated timing chain built to last the life of the engine. No 100,000-mile countdown. No risk of a snapped belt turning into a bigger bill. Stretching the boxer layout to 6 cylinders does more than add power. It hands the engine natural primary and secondary balance, the kind of inherent smoothness a 4-cylinder has to fight for. Less harmonic vibration means less accelerated wear on bearings and seals over hundreds of thousands of miles. A meaningful part of why these blocks hold up as long as they do. There is a trade-off buried in the design, and it only matters if you're the kind of owner who can't leave a good engine alone. The EZ30D uses an open-deck block, thin 2mm cylinder liners that maximize coolant flow around the bores. At factory power, that design delivers excellent thermal stability. Bolt on aftermarket forced induction though, and those same thin liners become a real liability. Prone to warping or splitting under boost they were never built for. Left as Subaru built it, none of that applies. Where does an engine this solid actually let you down then? Never at the block. The EZ platform's failure points are strictly external. The serpentine drive belt's idler pulley bearings are known to seize without warning, and when they do, the locked bearing doesn't just kill the belt, it can take the air conditioning compressor bracket down with it. Past the 10-year mark, the timing chain cover's perimeter seal is also prone to a slow weep as the sealant ages. Neither failure touches the internals. Change the oil every 5,000 miles on 5W30 synthetic. Keep an eye on the idler pulleys, and the block underneath keeps running long after the accessories start showing their age. If you're looking at a used Outback or Tribeca, listen for a faint grinding on startup. That's the idler pulley giving early warning, and it's a cheap fix if caught in time. Next up is the engine that turned Subaru's biggest weakness into a non-issue, and fixed it with a part that costs $342. Number 3. Post-2014 Subaru Crosstrek, Forester, Outback, Legacy, FB20B, FB25B, 2.0-liter, 2.5-liter naturally aspirated. The daily driver nobody expected to outlast the EJ. A 2015 Subaru Impreza running the FB20 has logged 316,000 miles on its original engine block. A 2015 Forester with the FB25 sits at 216,000. A 2018 Outback, also FB25, is running strong at 180,000. None of these are outliers cherry-picked from a forum thread. They're the kind of numbers that show up when you actually go looking. That wasn't always the story with this engine family. When Subaru replaced the EJ series with the FB architecture in the early 2010s, the early versions had a real problem. Defective oil control rings let lubricant bypass the pistons and burn off in the combustion chamber. Owners watched the oil level drop between changes and assumed the worst. Subaru's post-2014 revision corrected the flaw permanently, which is exactly why this entry is the post-2014 FB20B and FB25B, not the earlier engines that share the same name. There's also a piece of internal confusion worth clearing up, because you'll see it repeated online. Some sources claim a 2010 to 2014 Legacy with this engine used a timing belt. It didn't. That description actually belongs to the outgoing EJ253, a completely different engine that happened to overlap in the same model years. Every FB20 and FB25 pre- and post-2014 runs an internal oil-bathed timing chain. There has never been a belt to replace on this platform. This is also the one engine on this list you can still walk onto a dealer lot and buy today in a new Crosstrek or Forester. That makes the pre- and post-2014 distinction more than trivia. If you're cross-shopping a used 2012 or 2013 model against a 2015 or newer one, you're looking at genuinely different oil consumption risk profiles, even though the badge and the displacement look identical. Once you're past 200,000 miles on a post-2014 FB, the internals hold up remarkably well. Technicians who've torn these down report negligible wear on the metallic components even at the 300,000 mile mark. What does wear out are the plastic timing chain guides and their hydraulic tensioners, which show heavy scoring by that point and need replacing. Parts run around $342, and it's a guide swap, not a rebuild. Some high mileage owners also notice minor oil seepage past the cam carriers and switch to a slightly heavier viscosity oil to manage it. A nuisance, not a failure. Subaru specifies 0W20 full synthetic on a strict factory interval, and strict is doing real work in that sentence. This is the one engine on the list where skipping the schedule shows up fastest, in oil consumption and ring wear. Check the level yourself between changes on anything built before the 2014 fix. It's the fastest way to catch a problem before it becomes an expensive one. Everything about the post-2014 FB says Subaru learned its lesson the hard way and then overcorrected. What's left is a modern, currently in production engine that's already proven it can outlast the very family it replaced. And the engine at number 2 didn't just cross 300,000 miles. It got rebuilt afterward and kept going anyway. Number 2, late 1980s, 1990s, Subaru Legacy Impreza, EJ22, 2.2-liter naturally aspirated, Phase 1 and 2. The one that came back from a rebuild and kept going. An owner described an EJ22 that reached 723,000 miles. Read that again if you need to. 723,000. The car needed exactly one internal rebuild in its entire life, at the 350,000 mile mark. Before that rebuild, the original block had already cleared 350,000 miles untouched, more than enough on its own to qualify for this list twice over. That's the honest version of this engine's story, and it's the more impressive one. not 723,000 miles on one set of internals. 350,000 miles clean, then a rebuild, then 373,000 more after that. Two separate acts, both remarkable. To understand why this engine had that kind of ceiling in the first place, you have to go back to how Subaru built it. The EJ22 came in two distinct versions. Phase 1 engines produced through 1996 used a non-interference valve design. If the timing belt snapped, the pistons and valves simply couldn't collide. Worst case, you retime the engine and drive away. In 1998, tightening emission standards pushed Subaru to redesign the EJ22 into Phase 2. A single-port exhaust, a tighter combustion chamber, a relocated main thrust bearing, a revised intake. Those changes technically turned the EJ22 into an interference engine. A belt failure now carries real risk. That transition matters if you're shopping for one today, too. Enthusiasts specifically seek out pre-1996 Phase 1 blocks for engine swaps precisely because of the non-interference design. It's the cheaper insurance policy if a belt ever gets neglected. If you're looking at a Legacy or Impreza from this era, popping the timing covers or checking the build tag is the only reliable way to know which version you actually have. The outside of the engine won't tell you. Here's the part that matters more than that technical footnote. Both phases kept the exact same advantage over Subaru's larger, more troubled EJ25. Thicker cylinder walls, a more stable deck surface. Neither version of the EJ22 inherited the head gasket failures that gave Subaru its reputation for blown gaskets in the first place. What finally catches up with an engine like this then? Not the moving parts, the oil. At 350,000 plus miles, the most commonly cited failure mode is carbon sludge slowly plugging the internal oil galleries. Starve a bearing of oil long enough and it spins, which is precisely what forced the owner's rebuild. It isn't a design flaw so much as the mathematical limit of how long any engine can run through the same oil passages before something eventually clogs. The fix for avoiding that fate is almost insultingly simple. Don't stretch oil changes past the interval, and don't let cheap oil sit in the pan for years at a time. The engines that make it to the high mileage numbers aren't lucky. They're the ones that never gave the sludge a chance to start building in the first place. Keep the fluids honest, conventional 10W30 or synthetic every 3,000 to 6,000 miles, a timing belt every 105,000 miles for around $600. And there's no reason this engine can't repeat that same arc. 350,000 clean, one rebuild, and however many hundreds of thousands of miles after that. There's still one Subaru engine with a higher number than this one, and it never needed a rebuild at all. Number 1, 1990s, 2010s Subaru Forester, Impreza, worldwide EJ20 2.0 liter naturally aspirated. The engine that broke its own odometer. In Slovenia, a man named Jerner Jung drove a 1998 Subaru Forester until its odometer read 999,999 kilometers, 621,371 miles, and then it simply stopped rolling over. There were no more digits left to display. The car had been driven across 2 decades and multiple continents, serviced every 15,000 kilometers, roughly 9,300 miles, on the original, unopened engine block the entire time. Not a rebuild, not a partial teardown. The same block that left the factory, still running, after the equivalent of driving to the moon and most of the way back. Young didn't run that Forester on a single easy commute for 20 years either. By his own account, the car crossed borders throughout Europe, handling ordinary daily duty and long-distance touring alike, and never once saw the inside of an engine bay beyond routine service. That's the detail that separates a fluke from a pattern. An engine that survives one very specific, gentle use case isn't the same as one that survives 2 decades of whatever life actually throws at it. And that is the single highest clean, zero intervention mileage figure of any engine on this list, higher than the rebuilt EJ22, higher than the H6, higher than anything else Subaru has ever put on the road with proof attached. For years, the EJ20's reputation got dragged down by a case of mistaken identity. Its larger sibling, the turbocharged 2.5-liter EJ25, built its own infamous legacy of blown head gaskets and cracked ringlands under boost, and a lot of people online lump the EJ20 in with those failures simply because they share a family name and a boxer layout. They shouldn't. The EJ25's problems trace directly back to its bore. Stretching the displacement to 2.5 liters thinned the cylinder walls enough to compromise the gasket's sealing surface, and a weak factory composite gasket did the rest under thermal cycling. The EJ20 never made that trade. Its cylinder walls stayed thick, its deck stayed stable, and automotive specialists are blunt about the result. A naturally aspirated EJ20 will essentially never blow a head gasket unless you starve it of coolant or genuinely abuse it. If you're shopping for a Forester or Impreza outside the US, where the naturally aspirated EJ20 was sold far more widely than in North America, The distinction from the turbocharged EJ25 usually comes down to the badge and the intercooler scoop on the hood. No scoop generally means the engine that's actually the safer buy. If the block itself is nearly bulletproof, what actually ends an EJ20's life? Not a design flaw, an oversight. The horizontally opposed layout is unusually sensitive to low oil volume. Let the level drop from ordinary consumption, then push the car hard through a corner, and the oil can momentarily slosh away from the pickup tube. That instant of aeration is enough to score the crankshaft journals permanently. Every documented EJ20 failure traces back to that same mechanism. Never metal fatigue, never a factory defect, just oil, or the lack of it, at the wrong moment. Run 10W30 mineral or synthetic on a disciplined interval, replace the timing belt every 105,000 miles for around $600, and keep the oil level where it belongs, and there's genuinely no engineering reason this block should ever need a rebuild. Jerner Young's Forester didn't get lucky. It got maintained, and the block did exactly what Subaru built it to do, for longer than almost anyone thought a mass-produced engine could. It broke its own odometer. Nothing else on this list came close. The other half of the story: 5 engines, 5 documented proof points, not one built on reputation alone. An FA24 that hasn't hit 300,000 yet, but was engineered to get there. An H6 that turned 6-cylinder balance into a maintenance advantage. A modern FB that quietly corrected its own worst flaw and kept going. An EJ22 that got rebuilt once and came back stronger. And an EJ20 that ran until its own odometer ran out of numbers. Subaru's reputation online will always be head gaskets and CVTs, and for plenty of engines in that lineup, it's earned. But these 5 prove the other half of the story. Get the engineering right, and Subaru built something that could run for over 500,000 miles. Notice the pattern. None of these 5 survived by accident. Each one demanded a specific discipline. Head gasket generation and coolant checks on the EJs, timing chain tensioner watch on the flat 6, carbon buildup management on the direct injected FB, timing belt intervals held to the letter across the board. If you're shopping used, that's your checklist. Pull maintenance records for exactly those items before anything else. A clean title and low miles mean nothing next to a stack of receipts proving the engine got what it needed when it needed it. The engine was never the gamble, the paperwork was. If you own one of these, you already know. If you don't, now you know what to look for. Which one surprised you most? Drop it in the comments, and subscribe for the next verified countdown. For further tips on giving your Subaru the maximum potential lifespan, check out our video on the best habits to maintain your Subaru. This is Tom from Seats and Wheels. Thanks for watching.